Hi everyone. So today we're going to be doing some ratio problems, but we're going to be doing the ratio problems through word problems. So it's a little bit different than what we've been doing. So I've copied some ratio problems here, and we're just going to work through them so that you get the idea of how to solve them. So the first one says the ratio of boys to the total number of students. Let me underline some of this. Boys to the total number of students is 16 to 22. The rest of the students are girls. So, the rest of the students are girls. Sorry. What is the ratio of the total number of students to girls? So, let's think about this for a minute. We have boys, which are 16, so there's 16 boys, and 22 total in the class. If the rest of them are girls, then we need to think about how many girls are in the class. So I would do 22 minus 16 to get that number, and that would equal 6. So now I know that there are 6 girls in the class. Since there are 22 total in the class, the ratio of the total number of students to girls would be 22 in the class to 6 girls. Problem that I want to share with you is one that would be called an equivalent ratio. So this one's a little bit different. Let's read the problem. The ratio of the total number of students to girls in class A is 16 to 12. What would be an equivalent ratio of the total number of girls to students? So this time, we're not asked to find a different ratio or a different number. We're actually given the ratio, which is 16 to 12. And we have to do something to this ratio to get one that is equivalent or equal to. So different ways that we can get equivalent ratios or something equal to is we could divide both numbers by the same number, or we could multiply, just like if we are doing a fraction where we're simplifying. So here I notice that 16 and 12 have a common factor of 4. So I could divide 16 by 4, and I could divide 12 by 4. If I do that, if I divide 16 by 4, I get 4. If I divide 12 by 4, I get 3. So I'm going to look at my answer choices, and sure enough, answer choice A, answer choice A gives me 4 to 3. So an equivalent ratio to 16 to 12 would be 4 to 3. And as you can see, I'm just reducing my ratio. Here's another type of ratio word problem. This one would be a compound problem. Compound meaning that there's more than 2 items. In this problem, there's actually 3 items. So we're going to compare. So there are apples, bananas, and oranges in a bowl. The ratio of apples to bananas to oranges is 10 to 8 to 12. What is the ratio of bananas to oranges to total fruit? Well, let's see what I know. I know apples, bananas to oranges is 10 to 8 to 12. So I know that apples are 10, bananas 8. And oranges, 12. I know those 3. I don't know the total number of fruit. So let's figure out the total number of fruit, which means if I want the total number, I need to add these up. So when I add 10 plus 12 plus 8, say 12 plus 8 is 20 and 10 is 30. I have 30 pieces of fruit all together. Now I need to think about the ratio they're asking me for. So they're asking me for bananas. They're asking me for, bananas, oranges, and total fruit. So looking at the data that I pulled out, I know bananas is 8, oranges is 12, and my total fruit is 30. So my new ratio, or my ratio of bananas to oranges to total fruit would be 8 to 12 to 30. And that's an example of a compound ratio. The last ratio that I want to look at is a word problem where you're given a ratio and you have to find a missing number. So this one says a recipe called for the ratio of sugar to flour to be 5 to 1. If you used 35 ounces of sugar, how many ounces of flour would you need to use? So here, let's see if I can draw a little chart. So I have okay, so here's my chart. I drew it off camera. So here's my chart, and I want to know how many, if I use 35 ounces of sugar, how much flour I'm going to need. So in my chart, I'm going to have sugar and flour. I know that the ratio of sugar to flour is 5 to 1. And I'm looking to find how much flour I need when I use 35 ounces of sugar. So I can actually write this as 2 fractions. And I'm going to write 5 over 1 equals 35 over something. So I need to figure out what this question mark means, or what this stands for. So when I look at these equivalent fractions, this is kind of like, this is an equivalent fraction. I know that in order to get from 5 to 35, I need to do something. And what I need to do to get from 5 to 35 is I need to multiply by 7. And I also know from math in the past years that whatever I do to the top of a fraction, I have to do to the bottom. That's how I get equivalent fractions. So whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom. So since I multiplied my 5 by 7, I have to multiply my denominator, or my 1, by 7. When I do that, 7 times 1 equals 7. So my missing number is 7. So if I use 35 ounces of sugar, I need 7 ounces of flour. And that's how I would solve that problem. So these are just a few examples of some ratio word problems that you would come across. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.